everyone. We're here for the last of my Olympic previews, which kind of bums me out, but it's Skateboarding Park, which I may be the most stoked about just because the field is stacked for both men's and women's. So, I'm not going to go into too much about the skateboarding judging since it's kind of the same as it is with street. So, check that video out. I'll put a link in the comments or in the description. But the way it differs is the course is going to look like, it almost looks like an empty swimming pool that you see in the movies or some old school skate footage, or like, little Lords of Dogtown, when they drain out the swimming pool and skate in it. That's what it kind of looks like. It's obviously going to be bigger. There's going to be more gaps and different types of ramps that skaters can go through and find unique lines. But the whole idea is that you're flowing through this kind of curved structure to do all your tricks, and the moves are kind of more inspired by half pipe tricks, which I'll get into a little bit later. But here's how it's going to break down. Again, we have 20 skaters for men's, 20 skaters for women's, 3 max per nation, 3 from the top 3 from the World Skateboarding Championships automatically qualified. Then it was the next 16 ranked skaters, and then 1 from Japan. For Park, you're not going to see as many falls because that basically means your run is over. It interrupts your flow. That's it. But they do get 3 45-second runs. So, and the best score is the only one that counts. So lots of opportunities for them to make up any mistakes that they may have made. It starts off with qualifiers with heats of 6 skaters each. The top 20 move to prelims, where they'll skate in heats of 5. And then the top 8 from the prelims are the ones that go on to finals. Let's see. Like I said, go back to my skateboarding street video with how judging is going to look at, but I think something worth noting is that flow is going to be very important because there is no stopping and then jumping back in. Everything is in one continual motion. And another thing that may differ is that with street, you get kind of more technical tricks with how your feet flip and the combos, and you're going to get combos, but these are the kind of things that may be a little bit easier for the everyday person to look at because, you'll see them spinning in the air. They're going to do the kind of classic tricks like hand plants, or one trick that is coming back is called the boneless, which is a kind of foot plant, basically. And the grinds that'll happen, it's going to just happen on the top of the ledges. So you'll see it's kind of a little bit easier to follow, in my opinion, for an everyday person. And they do go a little bit bigger because, they have to pump through the course to get air, and that is something that is considered. So tricks to look out for, 540s are pretty standard, but for women's, that is something that a lot of the top skaters have mastered and everybody else is kind of working on. So spin tricks, definitely. If you can get a little more detail, the way they grab also adds a little bit of flavor into the tricks. Unlike snowboarding, skateboarding, you do kind of have to grab. If you don't, it's a feat in itself. It's considered an ollie. So you could do an ollie 540, but that's definitely more difficult. But you'll see grabs being referred to. There's the Weddle grab, which is you use your front hand, and your front hand is corresponding to whatever foot is forward. So I'm a regular skater, my front hand is forward, my left foot forward. If you're goofy, your right hand's going to be your front hand. But the Weddle grab, formerly known as the mute grab, which was a misnomer, so Tony Hawk helped push for the change. It's you use your front hand grab between your toes as you're turning front side. And just to reiterate, front side means the wall, your front side, your body front side is facing the wall as you turn. Back side is where you kind of turn away from the wall. So Weddle grab, you grab between your toes, Actually, I think with Weddle you can turn front and back. There's this the other if you grab with your backhand, the indie grab, you can only turn backside because if you turn front side on an indie, that's just considered a front side air because that's how everybody turns when they grab. It's a little thing in skateboarding, but I thought I would point it out because it's a huge debate, and I have to shout out Todd Richards for kind of emphasizing that, and that's kind of helped me pay attention to that. If you grab between your heels, like you reach around back, it's called a melon, which was short for melancholy. That's where you grab with your front hand on your heel edge. Stalefish is where you grab with your backhand. I see that more in snowboarding than with skateboarding, but you might see that. You might see some varials, which is just rotating, usually body varials where your body moves. You can also spin your board while your body stays still. Like I said, there's different types of hand plants. The boneless happens when you grab indie and you stick your front foot out to stop. There's your typical grinds. You can also just kind of stall your board out and then go back in. So instead of fully grinding, you're just pausing and going back down. Let's see, a McTwist is something you're going to hear. That's a pretty classic move, but for the women's, Misugu Okamoto was the first woman to do that, and that's just a backside 540 with a Weddle grab, and so that was one of the tricks that helped her stand out. And yeah, I think that's a good preview. Like I said, again, you don't really have to know all the details about tricks and stuff. Just a lot of the judging is going to be on, does it look good? Does it look like they are fully committed? I love the example of, she's not skating for Japan because it's such a stacked field, but there's a skater named Mami Tezuka who does a grind and she takes a foot off, and it's just like, you can definitely see that foot coming off, and there's just like that extra bit of style where, she stretches out a little bit and it looks good. So yeah, just, are they going high? Does it look good? Are they like throwing in as many tricks as they can in the 45 seconds? So yeah, power is gonna play a lot because you can't really be pushing off the bottom of the park course to regain momentum. So what I really want to focus on is who to look out for because, oh man, trying to limit the different people has been really hard. So I'm going to start with women's because they're up first. Both Japan and US have 3 skaters representing them, and they're all fantastic in their own ways. If you thought the street had some young skaters, Japan has Kokona Hiraki, who was the youngest X Games competitor to ever medal when she was 10 years old. Now she's 12 and the youngest in the field. You've got Sakura Yosizumi, who was number 2 at the World Championships in 2019. There wasn't any for 2020 and 2021 due to COVID, obviously, and there were other qualifying events, but yeah, 2019 was the last one. Misugu Okamoto, like I mentioned, she's an innovator, and I think she's pushed the other women to learn some new tricks, and she's kind of been away from the contest scene ever since she qualified, but she's known to skate pretty much every day after school, so she could be working on something surprising. And like when she had came onto the scene like 2 years ago, she just dominated everything. All the tricks were perfectly executed, smooth, just looked like she knew what she was doing and completely comfortable, even though she was doing some of the hardest tricks ever. So definitely one to possibly grab the gold. She was the 2019 world champion. On the US end, you had Brighton Zoyner, who was previously the youngest X Games gold medalist until this year when Guy Curry got it for skateboarding best trick. She's grown up a bit, so I think she kind of developed a more mature style instead of being that like young phenom, and It'll be interesting to see where she is. I haven't seen much from her as of late, but I think um, since she just came on so strong when she was younger and flying so high, I think, being a little older will kind of get more of the technical tricks down, like some of the grinds and um, different combos. Then you have Jordan Barrett and Bryce Wetstein, who are both some of the top ranked skaters. I think they're waiting for their time to shine. So I think the Olympics are going to be a great way. Like Bryce is a totally chill personality, so I think that might help her like keep a level head while the world is looking at her. Jordan is one of the older ones. She used to be a surfer, so she's got that smooth transition style. So yeah, U.S. also has a great chance to medal, I think. The other person who has the surf style and is the second youngest is Sky Brown, who turned 13 last month and won the Dew Tour. Obviously, is one of the media darlings of the Olympics with just bubbly personality, great inspiration for young girls with all her different like videos and efforts. She was training with Tony Hawk, had an awful slam and came back, so she's very resilient. And since she was working with one of the best, I think she might be our gold medalist. She's representing Great Britain and is of Japanese descent, but so I think she has a lot going for her with just representing her father's country, but also getting like pride with being in her mother's country. Even though it's mostly a young women's game, you have some veterans of the field. There's Emilia Brodka from Poland. She is kind of one of the legends of skateboarding, having helped pave the way for more equality. She's founded Exposure Skate, which is a nonprofit that holds events for women, has a dual degree, and I think it was like media communication, and I forgot what the other one was, but obviously older, more established. And then Lizzie Armanto is still a top skater despite being one of the older ones. I'm amazed at the fact that she is competing because not too long ago it was revealed she had one of the most horrific slams while filming a video at Elliot Sloan's mega ramp for Birdhouse, which is Tony Hawk's company. They were making a video. She was trying to do the mega ramp, did not make it across, slammed on the other side of the ramp. It's frightening, and yet, looks like she's made a full recovery. Like, she didn't tell anybody about this, and everybody's like, oh, I guess she's fine. And then she appeared on Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis's podcast talking about how bad it actually was. So, I don't know if she'll be at 100% because she hasn't really said much, but then at the same time, she's extremely resilient, just a consistently great skater. I know this means a lot to her to represent Finland, but also having grown up in the U.S., I think she knows what this means for women skating, so I think that might push her. Not sure if she'll be able to get the gold, but I think a medal is definitely possible for Lizzie Armanto. So now the men's, Team USA again has a super stacked field. We've got the 2019 men's world champion Heimana Reynolds, who also has that like smooth surf style. He's known for skating shirtless, although I don't think that's going to happen at the Olympics. There's Corey Juneau, who's kind of a consummate fave in Park and just really like easygoing, stylish rider. And then the big surprise from the Dew Tour, Zion Wright, who for a while was mostly known for street skating, qualified for Park. He had basically the run of his life in Dew Tour. And I think just, that victory has given him that motivation and the realization that, yeah, he could win this. So I think, it's totally possible that Zion Wright could still ride that momentum and get gold. And then we've got some surprising names out in men's. Ayumu Hirano, as in Olympic silver medalist snowboarder Ayumu Hirano, is the lone representative for Japan. So we'll we'll see how his journey into skateboarding works. Like he's super inspired by Shaun White, who had a pretty successful skateboarding career. So it's totally possible. I have heard that there is sometimes it's not always easy to uh, go into skateboarding because just you need to be a little more aggressive. And with Park, it's different from the half pipe where you could get lost because instead of just one tube that goes down, you've got curves all over the place. And then there's Rune Glifberg, as in Rune Glifberg from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. He's 46 years old, has been in every X Games, and yet, it's still just going strong in Skateboard Park and representing Denmark. Um, Definitely a legend. Definitely isn't slowing down, so, I think he might have a chance. He's actually not the oldest. South African skateboarder Dallas Oberholzer is also 46, and is kind of one of the breakout stories where he was a guy building skate parks and qualified to represent Africa. And one more skater to look for who could definitely take the gold is Brazil's Pedro Barros. Super aggressive style, very fast. So, and he's just like, I don't know. I always think of him as having a no mercy approach to contests. Like, I'm sure they all get along, but just I feel like Pedro definitely has the focus and the huge tricks and the speed and everything. So, yeah, he might, give the Americans a run for their money, as well as, some of the European skaters like Oscar Rosenberg, who's I think he still has yet to have his time to shine. Like in Dew Tour, he did really well. He's kind of everybody's favorite skater because he's super stylish, has some really unique lines. So Oski might be another one who's a surprise medalist, and yeah, it'll be exciting. So Women's Skateboard Park qualifiers is on August 3rd at 7 p.m. I think these are all online. I don't have cable, so I don't know if it's on CNBC or NBC Sports, but it's probably one of those. The finals are going to be immediately after that on the 3rd at 10:30 p.m. And then the men's are the next day with qualifiers / prelims at 7 p.m. and then the final at 10:30 p.m. And then on Thursday, August 5th is where you could see the primetime recap on NBC at 7 p.m. You're not going to see everything, which is kind of a bummer. I found that out the hard way with BMX. So, yeah, I think it's better to catch the live stream, although you get different announcers, so it's a little different flavor, I think, with the different events. And, maybe you don't want to spend hours of your evening to watch skateboarding. So, yeah, you can always catch it on NBC. I don't know when it is, because it's always part of their multi-sport recap. But yeah, I'm excited for the possible fun stories that are going to come out of both the men's and the women's. Lots of great skaters. This is a great way to cap off the introduction of some of my favorite action sports into the Summer Olympics. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do a recap. I kind of want to. There's a lot of great things that I love talking about, and I'm still talking about it if you follow me on social media. But yeah, for now, I guess it's goodbye and happy watching the last week of the Olympics.